So 2 years ago I tried making a series called Wednesday Silver Lining, and I was going to focus on more local, relevant, and happier news stories, but a lot of my viewers complained that it was too biased towards good news and that it was just irrelevant to them and they hated it. So I stopped doing it for a bit, 2 years, figuring that I'd come back whenever the news got really kind of exceptionally crappy. And I feel that over the past year, American and British news, I mostly focus on British news, I haven't found a single news story that's newsworthy that's been aired on there over the past year, or at least not done in a journalistically good way. So if they're going to be exceptionally biased towards the bad, all doom and gloom, and everything's terrible, live in fear, well, then I can do my show where I'm focusing on things that I actually care about, actually impact me, and I think brighten my day, because you need to have a good filter, and a lot of those news shows are just made to rot your brain. And it's a shame, because a lot of them do have kernels of good truth, but it's so difficult to dig through them. Well, welcome to this week's Wednesday Silver Lining. I want to remind you all, first silver lining. The world is still here and perfectly fine. Birds are chirping, mosquitoes are biting at my face, that squirrel is looking funnily at me like it might jump down on me, but it's pretty far away. That squirrel has a bad attitude. The birds also have a bad attitude recently, but we'll have to talk about that later. Another silver lining, you can log out of the internet. I know, it's possible. You can just go for a walk in the woods, or, you know, move somewhere where you can go for a walk in the woods, because it's actually cheaper to live somewhere near the woods. I've been clearing out the forest, been really enjoying it. I've been waging war this past week with poison ivy. I've been doing quite a bit, and I fear that a lot of people are just wasting time inside, logged into their computers, and I do feel guilty because maybe I facilitate that by making videos, but I heavily recommend log out, turn off your computer, turn off your phone, throw your phone away, give your phone to your dog to digest, I don't know, get rid of it, and just go outside and do stuff, because there's a lot to do. And whenever you get tired of doing stuff, come inside and do something productive. Like, for instance, for me, that's playing Final Fantasy XIV. I feel like I'm a perpetual outsider out here. I work in the real world, but I live in Final Fantasy XIV, and so I'm feeling a bit homesick for that right now, so I might spend a week playing Final Fantasy XIV. But whenever I play Final Fantasy XIV, I don't get that draining sensation that I do from, like, garbage news or whatever, which is doom and gloom. I feel a relaxing effect, and I find my motivation to do things again in the real world. And so learning to find something that you can do when you're inside that can help you regain your motivation and your sanity is really important, and not just spending all the time on Facebook and such. Now, regarding the birds, you know, like, it seems like every year has a theme. A couple years ago it was the maple bugs. They were just everywhere. Then a couple years later it was the flying ants. They were just like flying ants everywhere. But this year, birds have been insane in the area. We've been having so many birds here lately, like cardinals, blue jays. I've had like 4 nests on my workshop. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe they're being forced from other areas. But there's just been a lot of birds, a lot of fighting. Birds killing other birds' eggs, which is very odd. And I had 2 birds. I can't recall which ones they were. I'll have to look it up in the Audubon Society guide. But they were in my backyard trying to force me out of my backyard. Those darn birds. Like, they were like hopping and like cawing at me, like to get out. They're not crows, but they were like not quite pigeons. Brown and black, just kind of a generic bird. And I was just kind of like, well, I'm working with my belt sander. You go, but they were trying to like this is our property, and I'm thinking those two troublemaker birds might be what's tumping over the nests and all the other birds. I may need to make bird houses to protect the birds that those ones are defeating. A few of the things that I thought about doing. I'd have to say the fourth silver lining would have to be that I think that there's a good chance that masks, face masks, will catch on and become less socially unacceptable like they were. Because, you know, I used to wear masks every so often when I go out, because I only go out like once a month, and just to get like the, you know, rations or whatever, just because I don't like going out. I like staying home. Going out in the world is just weird. You have to deal with people, and I like being in my own little area. And sometimes whenever I'd wear a mask, there'd be mixed reactions. Some people would thank me for wearing a mask. Like, they'd be like, oh, I'm glad you're wearing a mask because you're sick. It's like, well, I'm not sick, but I just don't want to get sick because I hate being sick. And haven't gotten sick in years because of that. I think it helps. But I've also had other people be like, well, those masks don't do anything. Oh, the reactions are becoming so varied. It's kind of hilarious. Like, you'll be at Walmart, and you'll see somebody like talking really angrily, like sitting on your checkout. Like, they'll have like a cigarette through their mask. And they'll be talking like, oh, you know, these cigarettes actually kill you because they're really bad. It's like, okay. I mean, it helps you not get sick. Just whatever. If you want to wear it, wear it. If you don't want to wear it, don't wear it. But I would say that's another example of mosquitoes, of news saying a lot of, well, news doing newsy things, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think masks are, they're a nice idea. If you don't want to get sick, wear a mask, and that'll help quite a bit. If you are sick, I think you have an obligation to wear a mask. Doesn't mean you have to not be in society. Just wear a mask, and it'll help. Like, how much damage is done just by normal flu or whatever? Just, people need to be cleaner, I think. And I think there's, after all this kind of dies down, I think people will learn some good lessons from this, hopefully. Now, what's the other one? SpaceX. Oh, SpaceX. So SpaceX launched Bob and Doug to the International Space Station. It was amazing. Falcon 9 was going great. And evidently, according to them, if I remember right on the stream, the first stage was really smooth. Second stage, not so smooth compared to Space Shuttle, but oh well. I mean, what would vibrations to be expected on going to orbit? They landed the booster, which is really good. It would have looked pretty bad if they didn't land the booster. Now, something that did look good, really did look good, was, well, they learned a lot from it, I suspect. The Starship SN4 is dead. It exploded. Boca Chica Gal got some really good footage, and Everyday Astronaut, Tim Dodd, got some really good footage too. And I think it's interesting that some of the COPVs shot pretty fast. You actually see them shoot up, and I think I did frame by frame calculation. They went up at about 120 miles per hour and went up like 400 feet and then came back down. So that's quite an energetic rapid unscheduled disassembly, which is a funny term. I like that. But thankfully, serial number 5 and serial number 6 are already being assembled. Well, serial number 5 is pretty much already assembled in the high bay. And so SpaceX just needs to figure out whatever the ground support issues they had, and they need to they kind of got to rebuild the test stand. But Starship is speeding ahead, and you know, after a disaster like this, like, no one got hurt, no one was within miles of it, because it's a scheduled test. That's what these tests are for.
Airbags are a little slow, but that's what these tests are for.
You know, and I can just imagine the engineers. Well, first of all, there's probably I imagine there might have been a worry of like, oh shit, whose head's gonna roll for this? But once that wears down, I imagine the engineers are just getting to work, like getting all the data and figuring out like, what went wrong. And because whenever something goes wrong like that, you learn so much from what to do. And I hope they blow up a bunch of prototypes, and that way they never have to blow up any of the starships on accident. It just works better that way, and it's safer. But yeah, the Falcon 9, totally different system from the Starship. Falcon 9 worked beautifully. The Crew Dragon worked beautifully. Bob and Doug looking sleek in their new spacesuits. Me and Bill had an argument, a disagreement about the styling of the spacesuit. He also thinks that any good spaceship should have 1,000,000 switches, and it's like, well, I can appreciate switches. I love switches. I love them. But I can also appreciate a spaceship just for one use, like one purpose of going to the International Space Station and back, that just has touchscreens and a few necessary switches. Because switches are heavy. They're really heavy, and they take up a lot of launch mass, and so I like switches. If it was an interplanetary machine, then I could see that, but launching, maybe not so many switches. Oh well, it's all stylistic though, not actual functional. There's a little bug on the camera. I guess in more local news, some more shops are opening up, which is nice, some restaurants. It's nice to actually go out to eat again. But, well, there's been this one shop like 40 miles west of here that, just this old guy that we found has this little junk shop in this old building, and he just has like old tools and pictures and all this old stuff. You know, it's like a indoor yard sale, and he's just been open this whole time. And he's the only guy open. So we've just been going there. Me and Bill have been visiting him, buying stuff from his indoor yard sale. And like, because I needed a wrench for my bandsaw, and normally I would just go to the next yard sale and find the wrench, but we couldn't, so we had to go there. But at least one person stayed open. It saved my butt pretty well, because otherwise I'd have to go and like order a wrench from Amazon and pay like 20 bucks for it or whatever. And I only paid $1 for it, so that's good. But some shops are reopening, which is nice. And I know quite a few people that lost their jobs and they'll never get their job back, which is not nice. A couple businesses going out of business, which is also not nice. But let's hope that this is a good chance for things to open up. Like for instance, I think I saw that the Garden Family Restaurant downtown is opening up, and Benny, him and his parents are really nice. And I worry a lot about them because fucking mosquitoes. I worry a lot about them. You know, like just anybody trying to make a business. And they work really hard at it, and if I understand right, like they're trying to really expand it, and I think this might have been a bad time to hit them. So it really fills my heart with joy to see so many people going to the restaurant now, and so hopefully that'll help them, because I think Benny bought the building next to theirs and he was going to turn it into a bar or something like that. And you know, because he was expecting, I'll buy this and make money from using it as like a bar or whatever, but then boom, lockdown, and it's like that's a bad time. So it looks like things should be okay. It looks like things should be going at least okay. Fucking mosquitoes, oh my god. But speaking about businesses coming back, or, well, if businesses don't come back, we have to make new businesses. And what new business shall we make? Mallets. So this is the mallet, my first oak mallet. I plan to talk about that more later once I get a few more things dialed in, but I've actually made like 3 big improvements to my production to where I can actually do this. I made like 4 handles in a day, which is pretty good, and I should be able to make like 20 handles a day if I actually really want to get into it. But I tensioned wire around the mallet head at about 90 pounds of force, so that should help it not split. But I'm thinking it might be a good idea for me to go with even stronger wire and go with even tighter, because then I could get like maybe 200 pounds of force around it. Yeah, there might be a chance, like if you were hitting something and it hit the wire really hard, it could fling out and hit you in the face. But just don't do that, you know, just don't break the wire, you know. It's pretty good. I'm not going to be coating this because it's, this thing is going to be covered in engine oil and junk so quickly, it's not even worth cleaning or putting any linseed oil on it. Now, so I have the website, hillsborotools.com. That's going to be our company. And if need be, I am prepared, if the apocalypse comes, to make a hard pivot to being a superpower in apocalyptic technology. So if the apocalypse happens, remember, come to Hillsboro, Illinois. We can get some good products made. I need to fix this thing. I've actually been thinking about making stamps, or coins, stamping coins. There we go. This is that thing that Bill found at the scrapyard. It's a press, and oh my god, you put a 2x4 in there, you can just crunch the 2x4 in half. It's amazing. So that's the kind of thing you need to make coins, and so I think I could use this to press coins. Not bad for $5 at the scrapyard. In conclusion, regarding this week, and the time since we last had a silver lining news, I've been reading up a lot about Asian history and stuff, and I'm going to be honest, I feel like not much of what we're experiencing now is unprecedented. It's just what humans do, I guess. And well, we made it here through all that anyway, so things will be fine. You just have to make sure that you help the people around you. Like for instance, we're probably going to go out to eat a few times at Benny's place just to make sure we help his restaurant stay open. And because it'd be a real shame for him to invest in that building next to his restaurant, and then for it to like hurt him, because like he's really ambitious to build something, you know, like that's what he came to this country for, him and his parents, I think. And it's also a good idea just to, because like I've been helping me and my mom have been helping my neighbor, because he's an old guy and he has a hard time doing stuff. Like I think my mom made him a mask and stuff. My mom's made a few masks for people, which is kind of funny. But yeah, they fit nice, which is nice. I think things are looking up. I think things are still headed in a good direction, so that's good. And I think that now is surprisingly actually a really good time to start a company, because I'm really hopeful about the mallet production. Although I see myself getting burnt out pretty quickly, because I've been going pretty hard with all these videos, and I think that I might need to take a break once I get like the first batch of mallets done. I'll go play some Final Fantasy, read some ancient works, some classics, and then once I come back with a refined motivation, probably it'll coincide whenever it gets really hot, because whenever it gets really nasty and hot in the summer, it's just not fun. I'll probably regain motivation and do more videos. But yeah, I'm thinking I'll probably take a break sometime around it gets nasty and hot in summer. And that's fine with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and have a happy Wednesday silver lining. See ya. I don't know how to do the outro for this. It's been 2 years.